Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for enduring some of those background sound effects. My name is Bert Rivera, here hosting our biweekly Keep Calm and Career On session that we have going throughout this fall semester, and I'm glad you can make a little time this afternoon while we begin our program today. So to get started, I know we have a few people in the room right now. Wanted to just get started with asking a question to everybody who's in the room. I know we're all starting this online virtual space. A number of you are starting classes for the first time virtually, or if you're returning back from the beginning of the school year or last school year, you're picking back up in the virtual space. So as we go into this session, our whole focus is going to be tips on virtual impressions. And that's something that is really important now, both in school and both from a career perspective. Actually, a little intro before I get asked the question. My name is Bert Rivera. I work at the Career Development Center on campus. I also teach mindfulness classes. Me and my wife have been practicing mindfulness for about 12 years, and for the last 6 years, we've been teaching under the guidance of some really impressive teachers and host weekly classes now over the phone. And I wanted to create this space as an opportunity to teach you the skills not only to be good in your careers, but also to keep calm with all the anxiety and stressors that are going on right now. So hopefully you're all safe and well with all the fires happening and hopefully breathing clean air. And the question I wanted to ask you all is, as we're in this virtual space, what's the biggest difference that you've been noticing from being virtual as opposed to being in person? From your classes, from your interactions with friends? You can share that in your chat box. I just want to kind of get a pulse check of everybody who's here. What's the biggest difference you're noticing virtual space as opposed to the in-person space? So feel free to share that with everybody in the chat, and then we can all kind of get an idea and a sense of where everybody is. And then we'll get started with some of our content. Okay, so Melissa says social interaction kind of awkward sometimes, right? It's really awkward where you're talking, it's muted, it's maybe you're not muted. That kind of interrupts the flow of interactions. Energy, that's definitely a big difference. You're not really feeling people the same way. The personal connections, it's harder to make that personal human-to-human connection when you're on a computer. It's just not the same when it's on a screen. People are more shy. Yep. Definitely, that's definitely an experience. Yeah, I think everything you're all saying is perfect. There's a lot that's different being in person versus being online, and I think we're all learning and experiencing the differences of being virtual versus being in person. So with that, I wanted to start off our session with a career tip first. And I wanted to introduce one of my colleagues, Samantha. She is a recruiter from Medics Corporation, and she actually does a lot of recruiting at Cal State Long Beach. And I believe she has a couple tips on what you can do to improve those virtual first impressions. So with that, Samantha, feel free to take it away.
Hello, thank you so much. I appreciate your time and for inviting me into this community today. And yes, some career tips definitely I've been able to gather during my time being a now virtual recruiter. We've been remote since March. Definitely to your guys' point in the chat, energy and social interaction is very different now. So the first thing I'd like to kind of highlight is really our presentation, presenting ourselves in a way where it isn't that awkward. So number one, definitely, be mindful of your body language. Slouching may not give an inviting I would say presentation to the person that you are speaking to virtually. So being able to sit up straight, having your body attending to the individual that you are speaking to is definitely huge. We definitely have utilized the camera functions of looking at ourselves and use that, absolutely, but don't stare at yourself because it's definitely apparent. Also, taking the time to, if you are in a virtual interview, being mindful of what you're wearing. It has become a very casual, I would say, environment virtually, whether in an interview or with the workplace or with school. So yes, we can stay at that level of, being casual, but at the same time, we want to meet the employer's expectations of professionalism. So yes, do wear that jacket, or yes, do wear that sweater. What would be appropriate for the interview that you are, or the job that you're interviewing for. So it just keeps in mind that you are taking the time and that you're being thoughtful about your presentation for the interview that you're going to be a part of. So presentation, definitely body language and attire for the interview. Those are two very big tips for sure. Communication, making sure that you have some practice under your belt before you get on that camera. It is a camera, and sometimes it's not the most comfortable situation. So making sure that you put in a little bit of practice before you hop on to that Google Meet or that Zoom interview can really help with any type of butterflies that you might get, because it is a different interaction than the face-to-face for sure. But at the end of the day, it is just another person on the other end feeling the same way. So do keep that in mind. So really, the communication can be very fluid, knowing that it is just one other person who is in the same boat as you. Make sure you are articulate. Practice will be most beneficial with articulation and trying to get your points across as well. And in helping with articulation or any type of nervousness, always have water with you. This is one thing that I always tell the interviewees, have a glass of water. Don't be afraid to take that sip to clear your throat. We are all humans at the end of the day. We're all feeling the same type of way, whether it be, nerves, and we've got to clear our throat. Take a sip of water. That's what we need to nourish our bodies, and it's totally fine. So making sure that we come across as confident and articulate individuals who have presented themselves in a professional way via a screen is just as important as it would be in person. So those are my career tips today, and I will put my email in the chat here if you would like to connect with me at any other time. Also, it's my first name and my last name. So if you'd like to connect via LinkedIn and ask for any more questions or go further in depth, I'd love to connect. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Samantha. Really appreciate you sharing your insight as a recruiter and helping some of our students out on how they can make really good first impressions virtually in this new space. So thank you for that. And thank you all for listening and learning from that. So that was our career on portion, and I wanted to move to the keep calm, because I know more than ever, everybody needs some more calmness in their life. There's a lot that's not calm. So I wanted to teach a mindfulness tip called grounding. And this is a really stabilizing practice, one that's very helpful, especially when you're noticing maybe you have a lot of nervousness, maybe anxiety, things are changing really fast. How do you kind of bring yourself back? How do you slow yourself down? Last session, we taught 3 mindful breaths. So now I'm going to teach something you can do right after you take those 3 initial mindful breaths. And this is grounding. And basically what you're going to do is just bring your awareness or bring your attention to the ground that you're currently resting on. Currently, as you're listening to me, you're sitting in a chair, maybe you're sitting on a bed, your feet are maybe making contact with the ground, your sit bones are making contact with some surface, and this is all the ground. This all comes from the earth. So what we do is when we bring our attention to the ground or the seat that we're currently on, we start to breathe in and be aware of that stability of what it is we're sitting on. And as we breathe out, we can let go and release all the anxiety, all the stress, everything that may be kind of moving around in our heads and bodies and minds that is not beneficial to being present and to bringing your best to whatever it is you're doing. So I'm going to walk us through that, and we're going to get to do that together. So to do this practice, first, get a nice stable posture where your feet are firmly planted on the ground, your sit bones are balanced in your chair, and see if you can sit with your back a little bit straight. You know, it's easy to kind of lean forward. We're going to try leaning back a little bit. Have a nice straight back. You can rest your hands either on your knees or in your lap. And we're going to do a little grounding practice. If you feel comfortable with it, you can turn off your video, and I'll actually turn off video too, so we're not necessarily distracted by each other, but we're actually more focused on our breath. You can close your eyes if you feel comfortable with that. If not, just find a point of focus on the table or floor in front of you. And the whole point here is you want to bring your attention now inward. So we're going to start with the 3 mindful breaths we did the last session. So breathe in deeply. Breathe out fully. Deep breath in, all the way to your lungs, filling up your chest. Then breathing out slowly and steadily. Do one more full deep breath in as you breathe in. As you breathe out, letting go on your out breath. You can return now to a normal breathing pattern. From here, I want you to now bring your attention to the places you're making contact with the ground. You may notice the contact that you're making beneath your feet and also beneath your sit bones. As you continue to breathe in and breathe out, just become aware of that solidity, that stableness, of that surface you're sitting on, that you're making contact with. Notice how that stability keeps you upright, keeps you balanced, keeps you stable no matter what's going on right now. Just breathe in that stability. When you breathe out, begin to let go of any anxieties or stresses that you may be holding. Breathing in that grounding, that stability of the seat beneath you. And breathing out, letting go, releasing anything that isn't beneficial to you right now. You have the choice and the option to let it go. We'll take a few more breaths like this, breathing in that grounding, that stability. Breathing out, letting go of any anxieties or worries. As you breathe in, take in that strength from the earth beneath you that can hold you upright no matter what's going on. As you breathe out, you can let go of that energy you no longer need, so the earth can just receive it, transform that into something else. Do one more deep breath in, feeling grounded and stable. One full breath out, exhaling completely. Before you start wanting to do other activities, you can open your eyes, but see if you can maintain that sense of grounded awareness. Feeling the contact with your chair and the ground beneath you. And hold that stability. Let go of that anxiety. And know that this is always available and always accessible, no matter what situation you're in or where you're at. You can always just be aware of the ground beneath you and the stability that it provides. When you're ready, you can begin to move your fingers and toes. Begin to release any feelings that you no longer want to hold on to. I'll turn my video back on. And that was just a little simple practice of grounding. That's something hopefully you can bring into different parts of your day whenever you feel you need it. Know that you always have that option to connect to the ground beneath you. Take 3 mindful breaths, connect to the ground, and you can find that point of center from where you can think, you can learn, you can work more effectively. I'm going to share in the chat A quick little grounding practice. This is a simple centering and grounding practice that I teach students, so feel free to access that whenever you need to. It's an audio file. It's about 6 minutes long, so you can always listen to it if you need some grounding or centering in the middle of your day or you feel a little bit busy or overwhelmed. With that, thank you so much for attending this Keep Calm and Career On. If you need any help or support with career development, our center is always open. We have appointments and opportunities to connect to help you out with your career needs, where you can meet amazing employers like Samantha at some of our events, or you can meet our amazing counselors that can help you out with your needs. And if you need any support with mindfulness or any questions, feel free to email me. I'll send my email in the chat as well. That way you can reach out if you have any questions. Other than that, thank you so much for participating today. Good luck with the rest of your week. Keep calm and career on, and have a great rest of the week. Bye all. I believe you can stop recording, Candace.